I scorch the earth with these hot lines for the millionth time. Fire and brimstone erupting from the microphone. I steal the show and like a thief.
We are without co-host Effie James today. He's a little under the weather, but Zach Heiser and Hayden Gregg, our producers, are gonna
some big shoes to fill.
So they're gonna pinch hit and speaking of pinch hitting, Zach, if there's a bigger baseball fan and a bigger Cleveland baseball fan in the office than me, it's probably you. And buddy, it's on now. Guardians came back and got one today.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on Thursday, October 2nd, it's 1-1 right now against Detroit in the wild card series. Hopefully we can finish it off, but this team is one of those teams where it's like they shouldn't even be here. So it's kind of all bonus baseball, right?
Playing with house money and have been for a while.
Yeah. At the same time, it doesn't feel you're still just as upset about the losses.
Yeah, absolutely. That said, once you're in the tournament, you're giving yourself a chance, and
right.
They have given themselves a chance here. We generally like to focus most of our attention on our 3-county coverage area, but we'll expand our borders every once in a while when the situation calls for it. And I think, given what happened last week in far western Ohio, the situation calls for it. Marion Local extended its nation's best winning streak to 70 games with a 2019 win over Versailles, but it was kind of marred by controversy, guys. I'm sure that you have seen the video by now. What happened for those of you who
link to it?
Yeah, what happens if for those who didn't? I think it was 4th down late in the fourth quarter, and Marion was still behind. They kind of threw up what was a Hail Mary pass, and they had their prayer answered. When you watch the video, the receiver certainly didn't have possession of the ball when he was coming to the ground. He pulled it out from underneath. That's neither here nor there. The officials got together and credited him with the reception. They went on to score the winning touchdown. And there's no video replay in high school football, but
that's no level, right? Like, is there video replay in like D1 tournament games?
And that's something we were going to get to.
Okay,
but that said, the call stood. Marion won, and it's heartbreaking for those kids at Versailles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's devastating. Obviously, the people that get to see the multiple angles of the videos are the ones that are the lucky ones. The rest don't get to see that in real time. But yeah, it's obvious from pretty much every angle that ball was one of those where he. And good for the Marion Local kid. He gave a pretty good show acting like he caught it.
Right.
That's tough. I kind of, when we first saw that, I kind of thought, who wants to be on the officiating crew that may make a call that impacts a streak that has nationwide attention? I certainly wouldn't want to.
Right.
But they did make a call that impacted a streak.
Did.
And this thing can go in a lot of different ways, but a buddy of mine who was a high school football official, the first thing he noticed when he looked at the video, he said, well, the officiating crew was wearing shorts, and we're not going to question the professionalism of the officiating crew, but the OHSAA they are wanting for officials in all sports, and who knows, maybe that plays a role if it's an inexperienced crew. I don't know that it was. I don't know anything about the crew. Nonetheless, it's crazy, and we mentioned it just a little. There's very specific circumstances where there is replay in high school football, but you got to be playing in the state championship game where they have all the
camera equipment,
all that stuff in place. And Zach, I know, or Hayden, I know you were not a big fan of. If you're not going to do it in the regular season, don't do it one game a year.
True.
Yeah, I've been a little bit outspoken on it. I'm not a huge fan of that. I think it's one of those where if it's applicable in every single game that helps you get to that point, then maybe you might not have reached that point. It's tough. It's great because it does allow them to go back in a game that means so much and make sure they're making the right call. But something just doesn't sit right with me. The fact that, you can't do it throughout the rest of the year for obvious technology and infrastructure reasons. But Zach, I don't know what you think.
No, I kind of agree with you on that. This is a bad parallel, but in the NBA, they obviously officiate the playoffs differently. Sure. And this past year, they started using a sky cam or something, and there was a foul call on LeBron in the Lakers-Minnesota game that they used that camera footage for, and he kind of made the comment where'd this camera come from? So I don't know. It is it does make sense to be consistent from the regular season all the way throughout. That said, I can see where in a game of that magnitude, and if they have the ability, you can't ask small high schools to institute replay. It's just probably not possible.
Right.
Well, and I was in a similar situation this year, just to put myself in the official shoes. Gallion was playing at Shelby, and there was a touchdown where, it was Jacob Chambers, who's a speedster.
Mm-hmm.
Him and the Shelby defender are couple yards from the end zone, and the rest were just out of position on the play. And I, who am filming these games, have the luxury to go back, and I saw the kid's knees down on the 3 or 2 yard line, and they
right.
ruled it a touchdown. It's all the angle,
Right.
and it's a tough job. There's only so much you can do if you didn't see it, and
Right.
I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in. I don't envy the officials.
Versailles was coached for 38 years by a legend out in that part of the state named Al Hetrick, and Al passed away in April of 24. After the game against Marion and the controversy that ensued, the Versailles athletic director was asked about the loss, and he said, and I want to get the quote right, he said, "Coach Hetrick once told one of our teams after a tough loss that if this is the worst thing you have to go through in life, you've lived a pretty good life." It
Yeah.
is just a high school football game. That said, though, it's heartbreaking for those kids at Versailles.
True. Well said.
Yeah. Now Marion has 4 straight state championships. They play Fort Recovery this week, a pretty good team. After that, they play Anna, Minster, Coldwater. The Midwest Athletic Conference is, without question, the best small school conference in the state. It might be the best small school conference in the country. There's no guarantee that Marion will navigate the rest of the season unscathed, so we will we'll certainly be paying attention.
They are human, I guess.
Bringing it back to North Central Ohio, we welcomed in Jackson Ballinger from Centerburg a few weeks ago, and he was our first ever guest from Knox County. We have our second guest from Knox County. We originally were going to have him in last week, but he texted me and said he had a team function, and it turns out, and if I'm not mistaken, you were being crowned homecoming king on that particular day. We are joined by the recently minted homecoming king at Mount Vernon High School. It's Mason Richards. Mason, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a lot to get to, but before we dive into it, let's take a moment to thank our sponsors. Whether you're cruising in for a new ride or keeping your current one in top shape, Graham Auto Mall has you covered. Shop a huge selection of new or pre-owned vehicles or trust their expert service team to keep you on the road. If you're in the market for a vehicle, stop by Graham at 1515 West 4th Street in Mansfield or visit GrahamAutomall.com. Graham Auto Mall, your hometown dealer. Okay, let's get into it here. Now, Mason, you've rushed for 895 yards, 16 touchdowns on 107 carries. If I had told you at the start of the year you would be one of the leading rushers in all of Division II football in Ohio, what would you have said?
Honestly, because I play quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I wouldn't believe it much just from the rushing area, but I mean, that is a key part of my game and our game at Mount Vernon. We are a run-heavy team, and I think that has played a part in it for sure.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I think you guys are averaging almost 270 rushing yards a game. I mean, what's the secret sauce down there? What's working for you guys?
I mean, we've got 4 seniors on our O-line who have been playing since sophomore year area, and then we have a junior at center. So, I mean, those guys up front are unbelievable. I mean, anyone who runs the ball behind them gets plenty of carries and plenty of yards per game, so they're great up front. And that's really the big
you were
thing.
a former offensive lineman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an awful lot about the guys who plow the road, is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, I mean, that to have those guys that have been playing alongside each other for that amount of time, that is crucial. I mean, when I played, we had a group 2 in the junior class that was a grade below me, or just who followed up a grade below me, and they had been playing together for a long time. As a senior, it was a little bit difficult to know that I was going to back up some of those guys, but what it did for us as a team was more important than how much I was going to see the field, because they had that ability to have, the chemistry that they've been carrying with them since they were playing, since they were young. So that is crucial, because without the offensive line holding it down right, none of these statistics would be possible.
And Zach, you were around long enough. I mean, you remember that 2019 senior high team that played for a state championship in Canton. It lost in overtime to Trotwood. That team, the running back on that team, I believe his name was Terrence Flickinger, but Terrence was a talented running back, to be sure, but he was a product of of a really, really good offensive line that had two Division I prospects on it.
Yeah, I know they had a D tackle that went to Bowling Green.
Right, and he was one of those offensive linemen.
Okay, gotcha. Played both sides of the ball. Yeah, the line of scrimmage is huge.
Now, Mason, you set Mount Vernon's single game rushing record with 310 yards and 4 touchdowns. You needed every one of those yards and every one of those points. It was a 35-34 overtime win over Johnstown in Week 4. Just talk to us about that night. That must have been something else. Huh?
It was. I didn't even know. I mean, I don't keep track of the stats and stuff game, so I didn't even know I was on track or pace to get that record, but it was. I mean, that's one of the hardest fought games I've ever played, realistically, and I mean, Johnstown's a tough team this year. They've had some tough games, but it was overtime thriller, really, and it was a huge win for us. It's propelled us the rest of the season.
Who owned that record previously, do you know?
I do not know. I mean, I think it was either Melton's last name or Wyatt Gregory.
Okay,
they're probably close in there.
Nonetheless, I mean, and you touched on it, it's probably not something, and especially in a game like that, you don't realize what you're doing at the time. It's just next play, yep. because every play counted in that one. I mean, you're probably not realizing what's happening necessarily.
No, I mean, yeah, in a game like that, you don't really think about yards or anything or statistics at all. It's just what can we do to win the ball game, and we figured it out.
Right. When did you find out that you had broken it?
It was like that Monday. We posted our team Instagram posted like a graphic of it, and I was like, wow, 310. I didn't even know.
Now 35-34 in overtime. Was there an extra point missed, or
it was? How'd
you guys win that one?
They got the ball first, and because I think we won the toss or so what, and then they scored. And then we had a crazy 2-point stop.
Nice.
So, yeah, one of our linebackers, he, slipped a lead block, made a stop on the 2-point, and then we drove down and scored and then kicked the extra point.
I mean, what's just your thoughts on that record now? I mean, has it set in?
Yeah, a little bit. I like to think of it just next week. So I'm trying to go break it again, my own record, because I think that'd be pretty funny. But that's my goal.
Right.
When that's going on, I know it's something that's really not on your mind, but to rack up that many yards, is it just kind of coming? I don't want to say effortlessly because you're obviously having to put in the work to get it. But I mean, do you just kind of feel like you're in this flow state or something? Because as someone who has, I think, a whopping 27 rushing yards that came under very special circumstances in a JV game, when I broke off that run, I felt like I just ran 100 yards and it's not even, I don't even know the math. It wouldn't even be close to probably 5% of what you racked up. I mean, what is your mind telling you? Are you just trying to get that next yard? Is it just kind of a flow?
It was. We had a couple schemed plays that broke for really big ones. I think I had an 80-yarder which helped in that stat line. But yeah, we were running type of an ISO type of play where a lead blocker would take out a backer, and then I just had to make one guy miss, and then it was kind of home free from there. And so I was just I would say a flow state's a good way of putting it, where I was just making that one extra guy miss, and then off to the races from there.
Now, you played under Jay Campbell your freshman and sophomore years. Last 2 years, it's Mark Weber, who came over from Tays Valley. Very successful there. I think he was there 9 years. I think they won 60 games, went to the playoffs 5 times. Something. How difficult is it? I mean, to play from the inside. Is it hard to go through a coaching change as a player?
It is in some aspects because you're building chemistry with those guys. But we had a couple of guys from Campbell's staff that stayed and is still on our staff now, which helps with the guys like that, which Melton, who I mentioned, he played at Mount Vernon. He's our running back coach. He stayed, and I have a great relationship with him, so that helps in that change.
Now, I covered Mount Vernon for its entire stay in the Ohio Cardinal Conference. I think there were several different coaches during that, 8 or 9 years that they were in the OCC. I covered Mount Vernon just one time last year. It is a very noticeable change on the sidelines. There's a lot more energy. Yeah. Just talk a little bit about I don't know if it's a culture that you're establishing under Mark Weber, or maybe just talk a little bit about that.
It really is. Coach Webb has brought in, a huge culture change, and it's some of the staff guys he's brought with, who's Coach Richards, who's our defensive coordinator, and then Coach Vanderkoy is our offensive coordinator. Those guys are very high energy and very pushing things forward, and that's just kind of their mentality, and I think that's helped a lot with it.
Now, from from where I'm sitting, it looks like the players have kind of bought into what he's selling there. As a senior, as a quarterback, as a leader, what's your role in getting everyone to buy in there?
I think a lot of it, for me personally, is just showing how bought in I am.
Right.
Because that's a big part for young guys, is seeing your upperclassmen be bought in helps a lot to just get everyone involved, and I think that's a big part in it.
Effie would say that, the coach's dream is like when players hold each other accountable and can show each other how, they respect the coaches and are bought into what they're trying to do. So, yeah, that's great. Leading by example is huge, I think.
Well, and I think that what you said is important, is just being able to show those younger guys that you are bought in. I went into my freshman year with a completely new coaching staff, and seeing the seniors who had just spent 3 years under a pretty rough spell. I went to Shelby, and they had some rough times those 3 years, but seeing the energy that they had renewed and brought back with this new coaching staff, you're right, it absolutely translates down to those younger guys, and they just want to emulate that energy that you have.
Just talk a little bit how you've evolved, I guess, as a leader. From the time when you were a freshman to where you are now.
So I was a captain my sophomore year, and I've been the last 2 years as well. And I was less of a vocal leader then.
Okay.
It was just from my play. But now I'm a lot more vocal in that aspect, where I will get on guys, keeping them accountable, stuff like that, and I try to bring people up a lot more this year.
How about as a player? How is that evolution? What's the trajectory from the time you were a freshman to where you are now?
Just physically, of course, those 4 years is huge. But I think mentally, I had some rough patches football-wise for my sophomore and junior years with just quarterback battle stuff. Sure. But, again, that's just stuff that comes with football. So I've kind of played different positions and stuff like that, and now that I'm set one spot, can figure everything else, I think it helps a lot in that spot.
Now, this team has kind of been bolstered by the addition of Landon Dawson. He transferred over from East Knox to Mount Vernon. He's a D1 tight end recruit. We got a lot, for whatever the reason, we have a whole bunch of D1
trove.
tight end recruits around. What has his addition meant to this team?
He's a great kid, which helps in that aspect. He's a little bit quiet, but I think he shows the loudness on the field, which is apparent. But we've gotten the pass game going with him these last couple weeks, and it shows why he's highly praised, and because he's legit, and I think he's really solid. It's helping out.
Yeah, I think he's a guy who's got Big Ten offers as a sophomore. So
wow, he's only a sophomore.
Adding that piece that allows you to do some things.
Yeah, and we've talked endlessly. Obviously, we brought a lot of tight end guys onto the podcast this year, and we've talked endlessly about how that position has really evolved,
right,
and is critical. You might not always view a tight end as your top leading receiver, but not only do you have that guy doing this, but then just their ability to essentially know how to be an offensive lineman as well. It's critical.
Yeah. Mason, do you look at guys like that? Like you said you were captain as a sophomore, so kind of look at like some of the most talented kids like that, and you try to do a little extra with them or talk to them a little bit more?
With him specifically, because he transferred in, it was extra work and trying to teach him about stuff with our offense and stuff like that. So that was huge. We had a bunch of sit-down things with me and Coach Vanderkoy, offensive coordinator, and we would just go over stuff to try and build that chemistry with a new guy like that.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Now, Mount Vernon is off to a 4-2 start. It's the best start to a season since 2019. That team won its first 4 games and was 4-2 at the same point in the year. That they finished 6-4, missed the playoffs. I guess what were expectations for you guys? And we talked a little bit off the air. You guys were a very talented middle school bunch. You've enjoyed success the whole way through here. What were expectations coming into the season for you guys, and what are they now, I guess?
We were expecting, like I said, to have a big senior year with my class, because we've got guys who have played together since we were like in 3rd grade, like really young, and we've built. It's like the most team football I've ever played. The chemistry is unbelievable with these guys. So we were expecting the best. A good season with this, and we're expecting to carry it on. But we're week by week.
Right. Now, you guys, Mount Vernon, played in the Ohio Cardinal Conference, conference familiar to Richland County fans here for your first 2 years, and jumped to the Licking County League these last 2 years. I guess Are there comparisons between the level of competition? I mean, is it similar? Is one considerably better than the other?
I mean, it is similar in where like every team can win or lose each week, and I think the OCC is a little bit less like that. You'll have some stacked programs there in the OCC, like Lex is one of those. I think Ashland's pretty solid consistently too, but I think the big difference is it's like week by week. Every team can give you a game, and then it can be a close game every week.
Right.
Well, and if I can, Curt, I mean, looking back on the schedule so far this year, I think I heard you and Curt talking about it before we started. I mean, your 2 losses are combined 14 points, so a couple plays is the difference between 4-2, which is fantastic, and 6-0. But I mean, it looks like you've been in some shootouts. Obviously, you're going to be coming off a shutout from last week, but you still have some, Licking Valley, who's also undefeated towards the end of the year. Yep. I know that the focus is week to week, but the body of work so far, I mean, are you guys pretty happy with how things have gone? Yeah, for sure. I mean, the 1-point losses, we feel like we kind of shot ourselves in the foot with some of those. We have struggled with penalties in some of these weeks, especially in those losses. But yeah, we're looking forward to play some of these heavier stacked teams that are upcoming. We're excited to play them. Now,
I have had the good fortune to cover the state wrestling tournament, and Hayden, you joined me this past year, and for the first time ever, a Mount Vernon wrestler won a state championship. His name is Alex Taylor, and Alex Taylor was a very, very good football player too. Mm-hmm. I talked to him in the summer. He had decided not to play football this year because of, I mean, he's a major D1 wrestling recruit. How does not having him, does that change the complexion of? I understand why he didn't want to play, but I would imagine it's disappointing to not have that guy out on the field there with you.
Yeah, he was a good football player for us too, and he's a good buddy of mine. I spend all my days with him, but he would have been the 5th senior on that O-line, but so we filled in. We've got a guy now, Seth Walters, and he's been playing solid at center, which is big, and we've got next guy up at D-line, which is another spot where Alex played. It's just that mentality of just next man up.
Now, Mount Vernon hasn't won 6 games since 2003. I mean, what would it mean to get to that? I mean, you guys have already 4 games. I think you've won 4 already this year. That's more than in any year since 19, or maybe 20 actually. What would it mean to get to 6 or get to 7? I mean, that it's certainly reachable, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, our expectations are to go out and just win the game every week, no matter what it takes. So we're planning on it, and again, we're going to go week by week, but that's the goal, is to have something like that.
Right, and it's when you're building a program, and you guys seem to be in that situation right now. I mean, do you feel like you guys are kind of the class that's laying the foundation for success down the road here?
Yeah, somewhat. And then the class right before us, who was Coach Weber's first class at Mount Vernon, those guys went through some rough patches too. They had 3 coaches in their 4 years, so they kind of had to go through a bunch. But then they kind of laid down a sense of culture for us to build on, and then we've just kept building on that, and we're hoping the classes under us just keep building and building on that culture.
Right. Now, as you look at the season, you guys opened with a 21-14 loss to Marion Harding. Clearly, that didn't go as expected there. I mean, what went wrong that night, and how have you been able to kind of bounce back after that?
Like I said, penalties were huge, and then also first game kind of jitters, I'd say. That's our least scoring game on offense so far, but we've kind of picked things up in that aspect. We're trying to fix the penalty issue, and once we get kind of those things fixed and cleaned up, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, and you followed that up with a pretty comfortable win over a Division I Newark team, and that win looks better and better. I think they are 3-3 at this point. I mean, does that? Can you kind of start to feel some momentum building on a win like that?
Yeah, for sure, especially after a loss, a 14-7, or what was it, 21-14, a 7-point loss. But yeah, I mean, it helps build momentum in a huge way when you go out and beat a program like that, which has kind of smacked us a couple years in the past. You go in to their home stadium and you win a big game like that. It can definitely help with momentum.
Well, and that, to me, is a clear sign. Like you said, first week's always a little bit hard, no matter what the expectations are for either team coming into it. But when you come back and you respond with that kind of win over, a Division I team, followed by another loss, and then you grind one out in overtime too, that ability to bounce back is clearly visible to the eye on your guys' schedule, and to see what you guys have done. I mean, to me, that signals trust in the guy next to you as well. Do you think that's a fair assessment? You guys,
I think that's. I mean, it's a sense of grit and trust. Really, it's just week to week, bounce back, go get it, and then just trust the guys next to you, and that's that chemistry that I've talked about. It's huge.
The following week, I think you were ahead by 20 against Delaware Hayes.
Yeah.
That one, they scored 27 unanswered. You guys lost 41-34. You had another big night, 222 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns. But a team that's not used to winning, and trying to build something, how do you not let that one really? I mean, it'd be easy to kind of pack it in after something like that. But you guys haven't, to your credit, you haven't done that.
Yeah, that was one of those ones where we were up big, which has been new to us in these recent years, right? And it's figuring out how to get up big and then maintain it for 4 quarters, which I think we've built on now. After that, we've figured out a way to just keep fighting and stop. Don't kind of like lay down, right? So you just keep pushing and attacking. I think that's been huge for us.
What's that say about the resiliency of this bunch? I mean, to not let that one be a season definer.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's just, again, that week to week is huge for our guys, because it's like something like that can happen, and then you come back Monday and you're fully thinking about that next week, which it helps you not linger on things from the past, and you're able to focus on the game in front of you.
Yeah.
What is your process after a game on a weekend? Like, do you guys watch film on Saturday? Do you take Sunday to rest? When do you start looking ahead to the next week?
So on Saturday mornings we come in for film, and if it's an away game, we'll watch the JV games, but we'll sit down and we'll watch the game film from that Friday. And then Sunday's usually the day where you just relax, take a day, and then we come back Monday and we'll practice, go over film for the game in front of us and stuff like that.
So by Monday, coach is like, look ahead. We're not talking about last week anymore. Yeah.
And after that Delaware loss, I mean, that following week was the Johnstown game, and that was the Mason Richards game. 310 yards, 4 touchdowns. You weren't the only one to have a record-setting night that night. Your linebacker, Luke Mullins, had 22 tackles in a high school football game. There's barely enough time to
Saturday morning.
There's barely enough time to have 22 tackles in a high school football game. I mean, as valuable as you've been to the offense, I mean, what does he mean to the defense?
Yeah, he is. I mean, he's the staple on defense for us, really. He's just that leader. He's like the quarterback of the defense, that middle linebacker over there, and he's been solid, and he's coming off of a season-ending injury last year, so he's had to fight and bounce back, and I think his ability to do that has shown that defense some resiliency, which has been big.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit off air. I mean, he's a guy who lost his. I mean, he put up crazy numbers as a sophomore. I think he had 120 tackles as a sophomore. Lost his entire junior year. I mean, if he might be sitting here with D1 offers if it weren't for missing out on that season. I mean, that's a good guy to get. I mean, that's a huge addition to get back there.
Yeah, it was. He's great.
Now, the Johnstown game was that was the first in what is now a 3-game winning streak, and Mount Vernon hasn't won 3 in a row since the 2020 season. I mean, can you kind of feel is it starting to roll downhill for you guys a little bit here? Are you feeling that momentum?
Yeah, the ball is definitely rolling, and I think momentum's been huge, but we're looking forward to the week in front of us, and we've got a big game this Friday against a pretty good Watkins team who their record doesn't show it, but they're pretty solid.
Yeah, and we will get to that. But I mean, last week you guys pitched a shutout against Zanesville, 42-0. Your defense set a record. They allowed 8 rushing yards an entire game. Which is
not even a first down.
Which is hard to wrap your head around. I mean, how much confidence do you guys have in your defense right now? And does that take some pressure off you guys on the offensive side?
I mean, it makes our job a lot easier when we just get the ball back after 3 plays, all right? But we're full confidence in them. It's that belief in our guys, and I mean, I would trust those dudes with anything.
This week you're at Watkins. Like you said, they're 2-4, but they are coming off a big time upset. They upset Granville last week. Last year, that's the one Mount Vernon game I covered. You guys lost in overtime, 27-21. I think you had a chance to win that one. You tried to kick a field goal at the end of regulation that got blocked, I believe. Yep. They got a receiver who's going to Ohio State, kid named Jaden Ricketts. They got a quarterback named Drew Samsel, who was an All-Ohio a couple of years ago. I mean, what do they do well, and what are you guys going to have to do to kind of slow that down?
I think that they pass the ball well, right? Which they've got that guy who's pretty solid, which as a parent. But yeah, they've got a good little thing going over there with their chemistry with that quarterback and their receivers, and I think that's one thing we'll have to focus on and stop. But I trust our guys in the secondary on defense to make that happen, right? With a good scheme, we can figure that out. And then honestly, on offense, we just got to keep doing what we're doing and keep driving down the field and scoring points.
And not looking too far down the road. I mean, that's for guys like us, not for players. But I think you have, Licking Heights in week 8, and they are struggling. But then after that, things get really, really interesting. Licking Valley's undefeated still. Granville in week 10. For the first time in your career, certainly, you're going to be playing meaningful football games at the tail end of the season. What's that mean to you guys?
I'm excited for it. Honestly, it's a good feeling that the games are meaningful, right? It's nice to have that feeling, and I'm confident again with our guys, it's huge for us to have those games, and I think confidence is a big thing to have going into those games, and we feel like we can win any game that we play.
And again, program building. That's what it's about. Is you got to get there and learn how to play meaningful games at the tail end of the season.
Yep.
Yeah, that's something that we went through during my 4 years in high school, and I mean, we've talked about it a little bit on this show. Effie, who normally sits in this seat, was one who's like, when we talk about games, he just wants to not be worried at all, obliterate, not worry, kind of like your game last week. But in terms of looking at the season as a whole, to have games like that, right, don't look ahead to it right now. But to know that those kind of games are awaiting you at the end of the season as a competitor, I mean, that's something that I think deep inside is kind of like, you like that. You like to have that pressure. I mean, what's your take on it? I know it'll be a lot of pressure, but do you like that as a competitor?
I do. Personally, I think playing big games is the most fun thing in sports to do, really. But I think some of the games that we've played this year are going to help us in playing bigger games, right? Yeah. So the close win against Johnstown helps you finish in the fourth quarter, right? And so just building off of those is going to help us with momentum and stuff like that going into that week.
For sure.
And you and I were texting back and forth earlier this week, and I asked you, there's a freshman quarterback on the roster named William Richards, and I thought maybe he was a younger brother. Now he's not, but you said in one of your texts that that it kind of feels like a brotherly relationship for you. I mean, do you kind of feel it's your job as a mentor to take those younger kids under your wing?
Yeah, one thing I'm really appreciative for is our QB room's really tight, right? So we've got he goes by Liam. His name's William Richards, but it's Liam Richards to us. And then Zach Beck, who is also a quarterback fresh. They're the same grade. I've spent a lot of time with Zach because Liam starts at safety on defense because of some injuries that have happened, and he's just a good athlete, right? So we threw him back there on defense. So I've spent a lot of time with these guys, and you do build that kind of brotherly relationship when you're learning some of the same things, and you've got to teach these guys some things, and I think it's a good thing to have, is that chemistry and that relationship.
Right. Now, a lot of the guys that we've had in here previously have already had offers, and they already know what they're doing here in the next 4 years in terms of colleges. Are you hearing from colleges? What are you hearing from colleges?
I haven't gotten many offers or anything like that. I don't have any offers, but I've gotten some here and there from like D3s and stuff like that, but nothing big here yet. Do
you want to play?
I do want to play college football.
And we talked a little bit about this before we sat down here, but I mean, what's your best position? I mean, are you a quarterback? Are you a running back who's playing quarterback? I mean, what suits you best?
I'm really willing to play anything in college. I just want to go play. But yeah, I mean, I've been running the ball a lot this year, which is big. But I think really I'll play any position in college. I have any opportunity that I'm given, I'll take hold of it.
Right.
Have you played mostly quarterback since sophomore year, or what are some of the other positions?
I've bounced around. I've played receiver, running back, and then quarterback. Gotcha. Really. So I've bounced around a little bit. I tried defense, but I don't belong on that side of the ball. But yeah, running back and quarterback kind of where I've thrived.
Well, see, when I hear that, I hear of a guy who's played multiple positions, who has a good grasp on the game, and obviously for the staff to entrust you with a position as important as quarterback, you're a student of the game as well. So, I mean, bottle that up with the fact that you just have the motor and the passion to want to play anywhere, to have that opportunity. I mean, that's something that as a college recruiter, I think I'd want to hear.
Yeah. So if you're a college recruiter out there listening, you might want to.
It's silly that you're not already
take a look down in Knox County.
Yeah.
We like to finish our little thing here with something we call the 2-minute drill. We'll throw a bunch of questions at you, and you just answer them as quickly as you can here. So here's the first one. I want you to finish the sentence. Blank is the greatest wrestler in Mount Vernon High School history.
Alex Taylor.
We also would have accepted, and Hayden, you know this, we would have accepted Ashlyn Brokaw, who won the girls' 105-pound state championship last year as a sophomore. Meanwhile, Alex, he won a 17U Pan Am freestyle gold medal in Rio this summer, and then he reached the quarterfinals in the 17U Worlds in Greece, I think, the following month. So he's you can't go wrong with either of those.
I wouldn't have want to seen either of those athletes on a mat anywhere near.
How about this one? Blank is the best girls cross-country runner in Mount Vernon history.
Lucy Rush.
Lucy Rush is the right answer.
Yeah.
Lucy Rush broke a 16-year-old school record earlier this season at the McGowan Invitational at Watkins Memorial. She finished in 18:06. She broke the previous record by 19 seconds. That was set in 2009. I covered her at the state cross-country meet last year. She finished 57th in D1. And I tell you what, if you're in low 18s in the girls, you're starting to fly. You're looking at probably a top 20 finish there. So that's something else. You probably you guys have probably got the most engaged student section outside of maybe the Shelby student section. I mean, you guys, it's called the Hive. It's they are on point at every game. Who's the leader of that bunch?
We've got 4 Hive leaders,
Okay.
right? So we've got Cooper Curry,
Okay.
who's a close buddy of mine, Zane Barber, who's also a buddy of mine, and then we've got Lucia Burt and Marina Sinsel are our 4 Hive leaders.
Okay. Who's the unfortunate one that has to do a push-up for every point you score?
We've got a couple of people do them. I think Gabe Vincent does them, or Gabe Kaiser does them the most, but a couple people have done them after points.
Gabe Kaiser's going to be in really good shape by the end of the season.
I think he's a wrestler too.
Well,
so
there you
that'll
go.
be good.
We talked about it earlier. You were the homecoming king at last week's festivities. Are there responsibilities that come with being the homecoming king? What do you got? I guess you got to put it on somebody else's head next year at the homecoming game. But beyond that, is there anything you got to do?
You gotta kind of walk down the middle of homecoming during the dance or whatever.
Okay.
It is.
Be like the coolest kid in school.
Something
be
like
the
that.
quarterback of the football team. Now, for the first time ever this year, Mount Vernon students were allowed to paint their parking spots in the parking lot. What'd you paint your side? What's the theme of your parking space?
Well, I go to our career center.
Okay.
So I didn't really get a parking spot, but I think there was a couple people who did it, and there was some cool ones that you see driving by.
Okay. Now
I think they should let you paint honorary ones.
Yeah,
It's a
absolutely.
fun idea.
It's October 1st, which is the official start of the spooky season. Have you given any thought to what you're going to dress up for us Halloween?
I don't know. I'm a big Spider-Man fan
Okay.
though, so I might put on the mask.
That's always fun.
You can't go wrong.
When you get the mask on,
Yeah.
and you can just be crazy the whole night.
Now, I don't know if you guys knew this, but the gates of hell are allegedly in Knox County. It's on the campus of Kenyon College in Gambier, just down the street from Mount Vernon. Have you been there, and did anything supernatural happen when you were there?
I have not, but I have gone to the reformatory prison. That's around
That's
here.
up here,
isn't it? Yeah.
absolutely.
And
Not too far.
there is some spooky
Oh,
things
so
that go
some
down
spooky
over
Have you been
there.
to the blood prison, or have you just?
It was. I've
the
done
blood prison?
both.
Okay.
I've done both, and yeah, it was pretty fun.
Now, Mount Vernon is currently 11th in Region 7 in Division 2. Top 12 teams go to the playoffs. Mount Vernon, they played in the playoffs in 2020 when everyone was invited. The only other time they qualified was in the 90s. I mean, what would it mean to you and to the program to play in the playoffs this year?
I mean, that's one of my goals that I have written down on a piece of paper is get to the playoffs, right? So it would be huge for us in the senior class. I think that'd be a big stepping stone for our culture and our school to make it to the playoffs and win a playoff game.
Right.
Nothing more satisfying than getting to cross that off, right? A physical goal like that.
Yeah.
And last one here, I mean, when the story of this 2025 Mount Vernon Yellow Jackets team is written, what do you hope people remember about you guys?
I hope they just remember that we went through a lot to get here, and nothing was easy about it, right? And we did put in the work. We spent the countless hours grinding for this moment, and I think that our guys earned this, right? And they've earned what the opportunities we're given and stuff like that, and I think that's big.
That's going to do it, guys. I think we touched on a lot of things here. We appreciate you coming up, and we look forward to watching hopefully the Yellow Jackets make the playoffs next year.
Thanks for having me.
All right, thanks for being here.